but I'm the mayor here in Monroe Township, Gloucester County. I just want to offer a few remarks before we get into the press conference on yesterday's horrific plane crash. You know, here in Monroe Township, we are deeply saddened to hear the injuries that were suffered from the victims. Some of those injuries minor to severe injuries, so our prayers go out to those individuals and their families. We wish them a speedy recovery, but we are very grateful and thankful that there were no fatalities regarding yesterday's incident. That is a direct reflection of our first responders. I'm sure as the investigation unfolds with the FAA, we'll learn what the pilot's actions were. But today I want to congratulate and thank our first responders that responded to the scene. You know, it all starts with the Gloucester County Dispatch Center 911. They take the calls, they field the calls. I'm sure there are many, many calls that came in yesterday regarding this. They calmly and professionally get the details, relay it to our first responders, the Monroe Township Police Department, our Williamstown Fire Department, our Cecil Fire Department. We have 2 fire departments here. They are all volunteer. We don't have a paid fire department here, as well as our Gloucester County EMS units that responded. They acted appropriately. They responded swiftly, rendered aid within minutes of the plane going down, which ultimately saved lives yesterday. And there's a big credit there to those first responders. I also want to thank the other areas. As you can imagine, when something like this happens, there are multiple agencies that mutual aid goes out. There were agencies, fire, police, that respond from neighboring towns, but also neighboring counties. And I'm sure we can get a detailed list of all those that responded. But those agencies also are commended for their actions and their immediate response, as well as them rendering aid as soon as they arrived on scene, including 5 medevac units and a team of medical professionals that responded from Cooper Hospital, the trauma center, directly to the scene and began treatment on some of the patients. With that, I also like to thank Governor Phil Murphy's office. The governor had contacted me immediately, offered state assistance and resources, as well as Senator Paul Moriarty's office with the same, and one of our own, Cody Miller, who's a New Jersey State Assemblyman. He also contacted us offering assistance. Cody is not only a resident here in Monroe Township, but he's one of our volunteers in our fire department. So we thank them for the offer. Fortunately for us, we were able to handle it within our own local resources here. Not that we don't want to take aid from higher authorities. We greatly appreciate the offer, but our people did such a tremendous job yesterday that we didn't have to. And that's a credit to a few years ago, we had a training session at that very airport that I was able to attend and watch. At that same airport, our first responders had an incident, a scenario almost identical to this one that they prepared, and I think that paid off yesterday, ultimately saving lives. So we are so grateful to these guys here. So thank you very much, and we'll kick it off to Captain Bielski.
All right. Good morning, everyone. So thanks for coming out. So next to me, we have Chief Andrew Holter, the External Affairs Officer for Gloucester County Office of Emergency Management. He's prepared to give you guys a quick update. Followed by him, I have Chief John McBride from the Monroe Township Police Department. Chief has a couple remarks to make. With him, Sergeant Don D'Arcangelo. He's from the Office of Emergency Management with Monroe Township. Chief Pat Mason, Williamstown Fire Chief, also here to provide any questions that you guys may have. So, Chief.
Thank you, Captain Bielski. On behalf of Gloucester County Office of Emergency Management, we just want to thank all the agencies that were involved for their quick actions and response yesterday. Our office did respond as well with various resources to support the incident. Again, regarding the patients that were transported and treated yesterday, there were a total of 15 passengers on the plane, including the pilot. One of those passengers refused medical treatment on scene. 14 were ultimately transported. 11 of those patients did go to Cooper University Medical Center in Camden City, while 3 of them were transported to Inspira Medical Center in Mulligan Hill. As of today, we don't have an update on the 3 to Inspira Mulligan Hill. However, we do have an update on the 11 that went to Cooper University Hospital. Of the 11, 3 of them were reported to be critical condition when they left the scene. They were medevaced by air medical transport helicopters. So far, 3 of them are still listed in critical condition at Cooper University Hospital as of late morning today. Cooper University Hospital does have 8 patients total that are still receiving treatment. Many of them have suffered various extremity injuries, upper and lower extremities. So again, right now there are still 5 patients being treated in their emergency department, but there are still 3 listed in critical condition at this time. Right now we don't have a further update beyond that from either hospital, but that is who was transported from the scene. Again, thank you to all the partners involved. Thanks, Mayor Wolf, for your remarks regarding the total response. I think it was a joint effort and a tremendous response by all agencies involved.
Good afternoon now. First, I want to start by saying prayers and sympathies to all the victims and the injured and their families. Thanks to all the fire, EMS, police personnel that assisted at the scene from all the surrounding jurisdictions as well. It was an unbelievable source, army basically of fire trucks, EMTs, police officers, everyone helped. It was unbelievable. I understood yesterday there were some questions in reference to the scene being at the crash itself. My response was pretty immediate. I responded right to the scene. I trusted the fact that the command post and whatnot was going to be set up behind me. So I responded right into the scene and wanted to see exactly what was happening. It was chaotic, unbelievable is some of the adjectives to describe it. But everybody was working in sync between fire department personnel cutting trees down just to get to the wreckage, as well as the treacherous terrain. Everybody was making arrangements to make that a success. The victims were being treated and were spread out throughout the entire area. I myself assisted as well, and we basically had to escort everyone out to a safer location so that ambulance personnel could receive them and take them where they needed to be. Like I said, numerous people. The pilot was entrapped, and the fire personnel as well as EMTs were working that diligently to cut into that, to provide treatment to him immediately, and they were running into all types of situations where it was making it difficult. But I just want to thank everyone for all their assistance and the support of everyone that showed up. And like I said, by the time I made it back from the scene and got everybody, the victims, out of the area, the command post had been established, and that in itself is an unbelievable witness or situation to see. So basically that's about it. I wanted to say thank you again for everyone, and thank you all for your time coming out. Again, prayers and sympathies to the victims, and hopefully for a speedy recovery. It's just amazing that where you see a plane full of 15 people fall out of the sky and you have 15 survivors is pretty unbelievable. So it's a good day here. So, and I hope that they all recover. I'll take any questions if anyone has anything.
Chief,
Yes, sir.
how long after were you there, and were you one of the first to arrive?
I was. Just how it went, I was in my office, I was finishing things up, and then I heard the call for the crash. So immediately, everyone is up and out, and we started responding. We started gathering more information. It sounded that it was more, we needed more expeditious response, so everybody was responding very quickly. Everybody was already on the radio. There was a few officers that arrived first, and they were immediately calling for assistance, giving notifications, and notifying what we needed equipment-wise. So I believe I was one of the first, or one of the few first that were there. So I was able to immediately jump in and start assisting with that triage of the victims. So
What were some of those interactions like with the victims? How bad were they? Were they in a daze? I mean, they were just in a plane crash. I just can't imagine. What were some of their reactions?
To explain the scene, it was chaotic. Officers are hollering for assistance, trying to calm everyone down. But in the meantime, you have 14 people that are injured severely or appeared to be severely, screaming in pain, yelling for help. They're covered in jet fuel, airline fuel, and just trying to navigate between fallen trees and everything else like that. So it was very, very chaotic. But some were not injured as bad, and they were still trying to help even the ones that were worse off than them. So it was it was a pretty unbelievable scene, something out of a movie, to be honest with you. The plane crashed in itself. In 27 years being here, I've never seen something like that. So it was pretty unbelievable.
Did you train for this very
We
thing at
absolutely
this
did.
very site? How
Yes,
did
sir.
that help?
Well, I tell you what, as all these units came together and everybody was operating, it was for something as chaotic as it seemed, and everybody knew their job and everybody was doing it, and it was very impressive, even from where I was standing. Between cutting down the trees and just being prepared to show up with the chainsaws and everything else like that, there was no, hey, we need to go get this. Everybody immediately responded and just had everything and ready to go. And honestly, it was a very quick turnaround. The time we got all the victims out of this wooded area and to the ambulatory area. So.
Chief, we haven't been able to put eyes on the actual plane at this point. Can you explain where it landed? Is it in the trees and what the extent of damage is to the plane?
Yes, it was extremely extensive. I mean, destroyed. There was debris spread out throughout that entire area where the victims were laying all over as well. The plane was completely mangled and just beyond repair. It just looked like a big pile of metal, and there was just people crawling out of it. So.
In the trees or on the ground?
Actually elevated up in the trees, and it was just how it landed. It was got stuck in between several trees and it just rested there. So it was made it more difficult.
And the distance sheet between the runway and where it landed?
I would say about 0.2 of a mile, approximately.
Have you talked to any of the people that you helped yesterday?
I did. I did. I had a very interesting conversation with the gentleman that you saw. There was one gentleman that declined treatment, and I had mentioned to him that, hey, just so you know, you have an injury to your face. You might have hit your head. I need you to get some medical treatment. And he said, that'll be something cool to tell the ladies later. So, an interesting guy. But he actually stuck around to make sure that the other divers were safe. So. I'm sorry, I can't hear. No, we were still gathering that information as we went, basically trying to, and a few of our officers immediately, I mean, it's just, like I said, it was just such an impressive operation and how it all unfolded. Everybody just started gathering as much information as possible. Everybody just knew their task. And even where it wasn't their task, they were doing one task and then providing information from another. So people were immediately taking a head count in reference to who was on the plane, and then we could basically tag them. It was a weird way to say it, but you know, hey, you got to get your tag, and we gave them their tag, and then we knew that that person is accounted for, because we were concerned that somebody may have fell out prior to, or you know, during or elsewhere. So.
Is it a normal amount of people to be in that plane? Do you know?
I'm sorry.
Is it a normal amount of people to be in that type of plane?
I am not really familiar. I know they do a lot of skydiving there, so it seemed that everything was normal from what I could see.
And do you guys know if that same plane had done previous jumps earlier in the day?
I don't believe, I don't know, honestly. Anyone? Probably part of the investigation, I would think so.
And speaking of the investigation, can you guys give us a sense of what's going to happen today there on the ground? How long we anticipate until the wreckage is removed from that site? If we can expect FAA investigators to be there, will your team be there? What can we expect on the ground as this investigation moves forward?
From what I'm being told, FAA was there now, and they are conducting their investigation. Until they're complete their investigation, they will not provide any comment or anything like that. So, and the length of that investigation, span-wise, we'll never know. So, until we're told.
The victims, Chief, are they from here, or are they from Pennsylvania? Like, where the victims from? Any idea?
It was a mixture. I don't have all that specifics, but I know that that group and that agency, when they have these parachuting festivals and stuff like that, they come from everywhere. So we can get that information.
When wording this, I know there's been a lot of what happened up in the air. I know we're still doing the FAA investigation. How should we say this crashed shortly after takeoff? Was it in the air for a certain amount of minutes? How long was it in the air? I know we tried to circle back around.
I believe that's what happened. I believe I'm permitted. apparently the plane took off. They immediately recognized there may be some issue. They tried to make a turnaround, and they weren't able to make the turn in time, and that's where we ran into a problem.
Do you know roughly the ages? Were there any children?
There was no children,
Okay.
fortunately. All adults, and age range would be difficult to determine.
Understood.
Were the dumpsters attached in tandem already, or were they hooked up to the instructors?
No, I believe these were, I don't know specifically, but it seemed like everybody had their packs, and they were still taking the packs off while suffering from their injuries. So it was, again, so then yes, there was packs laying all over the place as well, so.
Do they, like, when you get on a plane, you strap in, was anybody, or were they just, like, when you see in the movies, they're all just kind of sitting around waiting for the plane to get there, but were anybody strapped in and still in the plane, or they did not do that, and they were kind of just bouncing around?
From the time that I arrived there, I couldn't say. They were out, most of them were out of the plane and crawling on the ground, so.
Chief, there was an event scheduled there for this weekend, a skydiving event, I believe. Is that still on, do you know?
Possibly. I'm not sure.
Yeah, as of now, they've told us of no changes. They have no plans on changing anything. What they end up doing, I'm not sure.
Are they operating today?
There were people there this morning. No, there was no jump. The airport everything was still shut down as of a little while ago, but everything's getting restored now. As far as what they plan to do today, there's no restrictions in place for them. So yeah, I would have to defer you to them. And as far as some of these details that we've been asking, after consulting with FAA, all those details we're going to have to discuss with them at a later time. Any type of conclusions, the hows, and the whys and stuff like that. We'd rather you just go through them.
With the plane still there, the FAA doesn't make any restrictions in terms of the planes taking off?
The wreckage site has no bearing on that landing strip, so it does not affect operations at this time. So, thank you.
If I could just comment on the question earlier about
Just the training aspect of it, that, there was an incident, and I came from this police department. I retired from law enforcement from the Monroe Township Police Department years ago, but the training is so crucial and important because I think somebody described it this morning as organized chaos out there. That organization came from the training that they had, in years past, but specifically that specific incident, I believe it was 2022, Sergeant, was the training exercise, and it was a collaboration between police, fire, EMS, Office of Emergency Management, and that training there sets the standard for what happened yesterday, and it just organized chaos, but it was a good organization chaos. So very good.
If I could follow up on that, this isn't the first time something has happened. There's plane crash, there's been other incidents. How concerned are you about that airport with these kinds of incidents?
So from my understanding and being a lifelong resident here, that airport is extremely busy. It's a small airport, but it's extremely busy, and it's one of the busiest skydiving locations, I believe, in the United States. So for the amount of incidents that occurred out there, I would have to see numbers where is it a minimal percentage or is it a large percentage? We have more skydiving incidents than plane crashes, although we've had several plane crashes at that site throughout the years. I believe it's at a minimum.
Mine? John McBride, MC, capital B-R-I-D-E.
Just one quick, have you talked to the pilot? What has he said? Or she?
When I saw the pilot, he was screaming in pain. I did not have a chance to speak with him, unfortunately. But once they removed him from the wreckage, he was in extreme pain, but the good thing was that he was yelling. So I thought that was a positive.
You know him?
I do not. No.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.